Okay, so this is a good one.
Oh
So
man.
we're going to talk about conservative commentator Tomi Lahren real quick. Tomi Lahren has some choice words for people who are criticizing the new Little Mermaid movie. So in particular, so anybody, Tomi Lahren is a conservative national commentator. She makes appearances on Fox and she has her own show on Outkick. Just go ahead and look her up on YouTube or whatever. She has her own show on Outkick. She's a frequent contributor on Fox News. And she is not shy about expressing her conservative slash traditional points of view publicly. And she does not like the fact that the new Little Mermaid movie is getting um, some from a critical standpoint, it's getting viewed as like, you know, not as good because it's lacking in certain qualities or characteristics. So in particular, she felt a certain type of way about a New York Times review of the Little Mermaid movie, in which the reviewer said that the movie is lacking kink. So first, we'll go ahead and just at the
What?
risk. Yeah. So this is an article from the Fox News website. It says Tomi Lahren puts New York Times on notice for lamenting Little Mermaid lack kink. Um, so Outkick host Tomi Lahren condemned the New York Times for publishing a review of The Little Mermaid, claiming it was missing fun, risk, and kink. On Fox and Friends First Tuesday, Lauren called the review disgusting and warned companies to not to mess with conservative parents. So this is an excerpt of what she had to say. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and play the video of what she had to say. I think we will not get flagged for this. I hope we won't. But
Fair use.
fair. So yeah, I think that playing the clip will do this more justice than us talking about it or me reading the excerpt. So this is what Tomi Lahren had to say about a reviewer who said that the Little Mermaid lacked kink.
He has not turned it over. But I want to leave enough time for this because this is mind boggling. The New York Times is facing criticism for its review of the new Little Mermaid movie. Okay, so Tommy, it says the movie reeks of obligation and noble intentions. Joy, fun, mystery, risk, flavor, kink, they're missing. The review concludes by saying, realize why the rest of the movie plays so safe because fun is some risky business. So they're wanting the Little Mermaid to be more kinky. Todd and I were talking earlier. Is there another definition for kink that we're missing?
I'm only aware of one, and it's about sexual preferences. And it's completely disgusting that they would associate this with a children's movie. But when these writers, these institutions, these publications tell you who they are, believe them. And again, this is just another notch on the belt with these leftist organizations sexualizing and exploiting children. And you know, we're talking about the FBI, we're talking about the debt ceiling, we're talking about border security, all things that unfortunately Republicans and conservatives don't have a lot of intestinal fortitude, at least up until now, to follow through on. But the left has found one area, they have found the hill that conservatives and decent folks are willing to die on, and that is protecting children. And we will do it every single time. Ask Target, ask Bud Light, ask Kohl's. We will protect children. We will keep them from being exploited. We will do it every time. Do not mess with us. We are done playing with this.
You know, Tommy, you brought up Target. That's a good example. I mean, what about the drag shows and bringing your kids to these drag shows and the pushback that these companies and these organizations that they're seeing from parents? I mean, you would think, at least in a logical mind, you would think that they would stop trying to push this on kids, this over-sexualization of kids. But do you think we're going to see it stop anytime soon? Because we're talking about it every single day.
Yeah, when it impacts the bottom line, and it does for a continued period, like Bud Light is seeing, like I think Target is going to see, I think that they will change course. But see, this is the problem. For so long, these companies, these corporations have learned that conservatives don't really stand for anything. We get upset, we huff and we puff, and then we get over it. until now. Now the tide is turning. It is changing. We are finally standing up and we are sending a very clear message. So they might think that we're going to relent. We are going to forget. We're going to get over it. But like I said, the hill we will always die on is protecting children. So I guess they're going to have to find out. But we're going to hold strong. And I would encourage all Americans to do the same.
I agree. Tomi Lahren, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Unbelievable.
All right, so there you go. So yeah, the person who wrote that New York Times article said that the movie played it safe and lacked joy and some other things and lacked kink. So obviously this movie is like something that people are paying attention to because they race bended the main character. Ariel was always portrayed as like a white character, and they have Halle Bailey here, who's a black actress, younger sister of Chloe Bailey, and she's the Little Mermaid. So Ariel's black and all that kind of stuff, and so a lot of people are talking about the movie for reasons that have nothing to do with the actual movie itself. It's SJW stuff. But yeah, so Tomi Lahren is not here for it. She's not here for that review, and not here for people who think that The Little Mermaid needed to exhibit a little more kink. So curious to know what you thought about Tomi Lahren's comments there.
Well, I never thought that I would agree with this woman, but I agree. I really don't know much about her. I just know I can't stand her face or her attitude. But she's right. She's got a point. And what they mean by putting kink in there? But you got to understand who runs the mainstream media. Well, when it comes to these agendas, and it's the liberal agenda. So these liberals who own most of these outlets, they push their narrative at all times. So when you think of these Hollywood studios, same thing. It's a very liberal minded thing. And what comes with liberal stuff comes with, well, anything goes. And so why not have kink in a kids movie? It's not like they don't do it in other movies. So why'd you spare it in this one? The reviewer is asking. They wanted a little kink in there for these children to watch. But yeah, man, it's just this whole thing that's going on right now with inclusion and social justice that they're putting in these movies. This is just the signs of the time, and peer pressure from media sources. I'm pretty sure it's going to reach these studios, and they're just going to go ahead and, well, have a little bit more kink in it next time. When they make the Beauty and the Beast reboot.
They already did that one.
Yeah. Well, they might have a new one, right? They might have a new one. All right. 50 Shades of Grey style. All right. You know what I'm saying? Make it a little spicy for the 7 and 8 year olds. So, but listen, man. And she brought up the whole Target thing. I don't know if you saw the stuff about Target, but that was wild. Where they were having some type of inclusion clothing line where toddlers and 1 and 2 year olds clothes for them, young kids, they was having extra small an area for them to tuck themselves.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and they had a whole line of it. And so people were having outrage of, what is this? The kid doesn't even know why he's tucking. Who's telling him to tuck? So it's like, well, how are we getting here? But this is the madness that they're spewing, and I'll let you go in a second. But this is propaganda at its finest. And Joseph Goebbels and Adolf Hitler would be proud of the amount of propaganda that has bombarded the American public, or anybody that's westernized for that matter, over the past 20 to 30 years. Because I'm telling you right now, these kids that are in elementary and middle school, it's a wrap. They're gonna be sitting around, when they're of age. It's gonna be a madhouse, and it's because there's no guidance, and like you said, it's social anarchy. So we are literally the old heads, screaming, "Hey, this ain't right! This ain't right!" They think it's progressive and cool, and so they think that we're stuck in the Stone Age with racism and other forms of bigotry, and they think that they're a part of the cutting edge. No,
Mhm.
you're a part of the cycle in life that happens generally right before that society's not a society anymore.
Yeah.
So, what about you, bro? How do you feel about this whole scenario, man? I don't like it.
Yep. If you go back throughout history and you look at the fall of every great civilization, whether it's like the ancient Greeks, the Romans, the Macedonians, uh, the one common thread is the downfall was immediately preceded by a height of decadence.
You're right.
Just look at the hit. I am not making this is not an opinion. Go look up. I know some of y'all don't care about history, but just go and look that up because those are facts. Um, yeah, we are the old heads. Yeah, and it all gets lumped in with everything else that's wrong with the world. And yeah, like I said, these individuals are perceived to be on the right side of history. Thus, they feel emboldened to continue to normalize this kind of ideology. I agree with Tomi Lahren. That should come as no surprise. And like when she was giving her thoughts during that segment, she used the word conservative. I tend to like veer away from using that word because the word conservative has political undertones,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't be caring really about this politics stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer to use the word traditionalist, and I firmly, proudly am a traditionalist. And as a as a traditionalist, there is no place for this. Like not very long ago, they made the creators of Scooby Doo made Velma a lesbian.
Oh,
So I don't know if you're aware of that or not,
well,
but
she
they
kind of was kind of gay, but
she is well she just wore glasses and had a mop cut. You know what I'm saying? So people suspected that she might be a lesbian because she had that kind of haircut and wore glasses. But otherwise, there was never any indication given to her sexual orientation. But that's because there was never an indication given to any character's sexual orientation on that show because it's a kid's show. All Scooby Doo was we in the mystery machine riding around solving mysteries. There were no elements of romance or sex or relationships or this, that, and the third in Scooby Doo. It's a
yeah, you're
kid's
right.
show. It's a child's cartoon. So if you think that Fred and Daphne are getting it on, that's because your dirty mind is always thinking about sex. Because that show, Scooby Doo and Friends, and all of the various iterations of Scooby Doo, and I watched them all as a kid, never had undertones of any kind of relationship, sex, or anything like that. They were just solving mysteries. Fred, Velma, Scooby, Shaggy, and Daphne. They were just solving mysteries. And they pulled the little mask off. it's the
It's old man
it's
Jenkins.
yeah. It's Wild Bill. Like it didn't have any of that going on. So what was the need to make one of the characters a lesbian officially? Why was there a need to do that? It's a kid's show. So like it's one thing if you want to introduce these themes in content that's geared towards maybe teenagers and young adults, which I don't even know if I like that. But if I'm willing to give it any kind of grace, I would say, okay, maybe if you're introducing these themes for shows that are geared towards teens and young adults, because that's when a lot of people, generally speaking, who are on the spectrum are starting to learn more about themselves and you start to make these discoveries and all of that kind of thing. So maybe if you're doing that, perhaps then I might be willing to give it a pass. But shows that are geared towards like children, like adolescents, toddlers, which is what Scooby-Doo is or was at least. Why introduce these elements? Like, what's the point of making Velma a lesbian? I didn't really understand that. So, I kind of feel like this is par for the course with these things. The envelope is getting pushed to the point where we're starting to create this ecosystem in which it's inferred that doing this, gender bending, sexual preference bending, being on the spectrum like that is a reasonable expectation to maintain for toddlers and babies and young kids, instead of just letting the process develop on its own organically. And then if you want to help create content that helps young people reconcile with this kind of thing and learn what resources are available to them to gain a better understanding of who they are as young adults, then I can understand that. But stuff like Scooby-Doo, kid shows, to want Little Mermaid to have more kink, why? It's a movie that's for kids. It's rated PG. What do you need the kink for? What's the point of that? So people such as myself, who are more traditional leaning, are saying, at what point do we stop the pushing of this envelope? Because she's absolutely right. I'm going to use the word traditionalist. She said conservative, but I'm going to use the word traditionalist because I'm not trying to be political. But traditional-minded people are effectively bullied into silence because they don't own mainstream media. Once you veer away from Fox News, everything else is run by hyperliberalism. So you can say, I would love to have my baby, and I've said this a million times on this channel, and I'll say it again. You can say publicly, I would love to have a child and raise my baby to be transgender, and you'd be applauded for being courageous and on the right side of history. But if I get on, the same news outlet and I say, I don't want my kid to identify that way, I'm going to rear them in a traditional way, I would get called intolerant for that. I'd be a bigot. The way Candace Cameron was called a bigot because she said, I'm going to make content on Hallmark Channel that features same-sex marriages and families. She's a bigot for doing that.
A heterosexual.
For me, yes. I'm going to make content that features heterosexual marriages and families. And I'm a bigot. Just like if I say that on CNN or MSNBC, any kind of podcast or whatever that's not Fox News, apparently.
Yeah, you're being a bigot right now.
Right, I am. I am a flaming intolerant bigot because I don't like the fact that a character on a show that is targeted towards small children turned one of the main characters into a lesbian. For what? Who is that for? A 5-year-old? Why does a 5-year-old need to know that Velma's a lesbian? Help me understand this. So, I get what she's saying, and I agree with her. I don't think she's wrong. I think that some of this stuff can be measured, and I find it unfortunate that people who have a traditional mindset, who aren't intolerant, but otherwise have a preference for having a family mold that's built out of something that's more traditional minded. There's nothing wrong with that. And if it just so happens that somebody in your family or one of your kids ends up on the spectrum, sexually speaking, then so be it. It is what it is. But these sorts of, you like to use the word agenda, but these sorts of targeted messages seem to reek of trying to suggest that this is something that you ought to be doing. And what other way do I have to look at that when you're putting these sorts of elements in programming that's geared toward kids who aren't even 10 years old? Make that make sense. Scooby-Doo is for 8-year-olds. I was watching Scooby-Doo when I was 9 or 10 on Cartoon Network. This ain't Toonami. This is an adult cartoon. This ain't Beavis and Butthead. This is kid stuff. Next thing you know, they're gonna make Babs Bunny and Lola Bunny and Minnie Mouse gay. Stuff that's targeted towards stuff that's targeted.
I think they made Babs plus size or something.
Yeah, why not? Go for it.
For body positivity. They said her body ain't realistic, but she's a rabbit.
This stuff is crazy, man. It really is. And look, if y'all want, y'all can have your hyper liberal stuff. Go be, go do what you do. Do your hyper liberal thing. You want me to take my kids to a slut walk? I'm not going to do it. But if you want to take your kids to slut walks and drag shows, have at it. Have at it. My central point with this entire conversation has always been, don't come at my neck just for saying I don't want to be a part of it. Why does one have to be right and the other wrong? These are all matters of preference when it comes to family values. Everyone is entitled to that. If I say I'm going to raise my son to be a heterosexual male and I'm going to raise my daughter to be a heterosexual female, that is not the same as saying I hate gay people. It's not. I know you want to think it's the same. It's not the same. So people just need to be able to relax and allow traditionalism to occupy its space with the rest of this hyper-liberal craziness. Just let it be. Clearly, it ain't going nowhere. I'm not even trying to fight this crazy liberal stuff because I know it ain't going nowhere. I'm just saying let traditional-minded people have their say too. That's it. And for this, for if you want Little Mermaid to have kink, then how about you petition to Disney that they create a whole new character that is, sexually, that make them make some character for in Disney that's geared toward kids, that features the main character that's a female, that's a plus size, sexually promiscuous, transgender
Black
football
person.
player.
Yeah,
Whatever. yeah. yeah. Yeah.
And they got Asian parents.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. Just let it run the gamut. Just let it run the gamut. For real, let it run the gamut. Because, this stuff is out of control. It really is. And yeah, I'm with people. And people are gonna get on her because they feel like she's some kind of way because she's on Fox News. And to me, she doesn't really rub me the wrong way. But that's because I'm a traditional person. So when she speaks on social issues, I feel an affinity for her words because I'm a traditional minded individual. And I think that there needs to be more people who aren't chicken shit to express traditional points of view without feeling bullied, without being bullied into submission or being concerned that they're going to end up getting canceled. So, I don't, this stuff makes me tremendously uncomfortable. I didn't like it when they made Velma gay. I don't think that I'm not getting this need to make Ariel kinky or more kinky. Whoever the hell this reviewer is, they can just crawl back into the whatever hole they came from, whatever hyperliberal hole they came from. It's a PG movie for children. Like, get over yourself.
Yeah, I mean, and even the movie itself, because I didn't watch it, but I saw a preview or whatever. But the inclusion part of it, I mean, they did enough. I thought they would have been happy, the liberal community, with the race swapping and all this other stuff. She's black. Her hair's long and wavy, but she got locks too. So it's just like, I don't know how that worked, but they doing it. So they making everybody happy. Because let's say if she was really black and she was down there with a fro, that would have been a problem. Because part of Ariel's appeal was her long flowing hair while she was swimming in the water. So she have to have a weave or a lace front, whatever the hell she is wearing down there. Then, her dad's not even black. So, I mean, he's I don't know, Mexican or
yeah.
I don't know what's going on with that. So I'm like, oh, they're just playing the whole damn thing, So, look, I'm not against. It's just so obvious and corny. And if I can point it out and go, oh, okay, this looks like an all-inclusive cast. All right, so okay, we got our black woman, we got our gay couple, we got our Asian. All right, we got our Hispanic.
We have our woman. We have our woman who's the boss.
Oh, we got the woman in charge.
Yeah.
Then we have the white guy that's just cucking it up and not being a real guy. In love with the boss chick that ain't got time for him. Mm-hmm. So I just describe 80% of the stuff that comes out. And that's the part about it that's cringe and unwatchable for me. And I don't know how many people that do watch movies that grew up watching good movies and has now seen what movies have become. I don't know how people can continue to watch this stuff because it ain't hitting. But like I said, this one here, it hit all the strings. It's making everybody happy. I figured that they would the liberal community would have been appeased with this, but apparently they didn't push the envelope far enough.
No,
And
it has to be yeah, it has to be more free sex, no consequences.
it's gotten to the point where it's bullying at this point.
Yes, I agree 100%. Yes.
Yeah, I'm feeling bullied by this stuff, and I don't like it. So it's getting harder and harder to watch commercials, even though I never like watching commercials. Who does? But I mean, it's on, so to hell with it. It's on. But even while it's background noise, I can hear the cringe in there. It's just too much going on for me. So, I keep it to a minimum. I suggest, you guys keep it to a minimum when these movies and stuff come out, because I'm telling you right now, the next movie is going to have some kink in it. You can bet that, So whatever one they didn't remake, since you said they did Beauty and the Beast, I don't know. What's that? Alice? Not Alice. Not did Alice. What's the other one with the Seven Dwarfs?
Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah. So I don't think they did that.
Snow White.
My bad, y'all. Everybody looking at us like, come on, bro. Y'all don't remember Snow White?
I didn't watch all of those movies. Those movies freaked me out as a kid. Don't ask me about that. Those movies scared me. So I'm the wrong one to have.
Man, we used to watch those on whenever there was like free time in school and we had to watch movies. We used to watch them things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I saw them. I ain't never really watched them. Except Lion King, I'm off the point. But the point is, like, even if they make Snow White, a reboot, a dark version of it, they can get real kinky with all them dwarfs. So you never know what's gonna come out, man, with Hollywood and Disney in general. And by the way, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen it. If not, I strongly suggest you guys look up a compilation of subliminal messages in Disney films. All right, some of your favorites like Aladdin and Little Mermaid. All right,
absolutely.
Yeah. And them sneaking little interesting sex toys in certain areas. What Aladdin told Jasmine? He told Jasmine to take off her clothes. And the sex in Lion King. There's so much stuff that Disney already.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. Sword in the Stone literally had. I don't want to use the word. It's a word that rhymes with the fruit grape in the Sword in the Stone.
Damn,
where when the kid got turned into a squirrel. So like there's a part in Sword in the Stone when the wizard turns the kid into a squirrel, and this female squirrel just loses it, and the female squirrel is chasing him. The boy's a squirrel, and look it up, bro. The Sword in the Stone. The female squirrel is chasing the boy all through the trees, just trying to take it from him.
Oh man! You talk about grape culture, and they're sitting there trying to teach us that as youth. So Disney has a long record of pushing the envelope and having kink in their movies. So I'm pretty sure that reviewer didn't look hard enough, because I'm pretty sure there was a floating dildo somewhere in that ocean. So look harder, Mr. Reviewer, because you did watch a Disney movie. So yeah, man, Hollywood, they can go to hell too. And all of these publications that's out here spreading this madness, they need to stop. I mean, I can go on and on about these clowns, but yeah, man, can't stand it. And I'll tell anybody that is watching a conscious approach, and most likely, since they are watching a conscious approach, they do watch television consciously. So I'm speaking to everybody else out there that may be on the fence with this stuff. And yeah, man, this stuff is out of our control, and they're continuing to push the envelope. They're going to do it every month, every week. I'm pretty sure we're already used to it. It's only going to get worse. And just like how JV Wins mentioned in the last topic when we were just talking about the music distribution and who owns that and who controls that, whoever's running these studios or whoever's doing whatever, they have an interest in spewing madness to your children. And so it's very obvious and very apparent at this point. So yeah, take whatever with a grain of salt. And if you do have kids, you really have to monitor what they're watching, especially on this platform and anything else out there, the TikToks and Instas. I'm sure y'all know that, but just stay up on it, man, because whenever they're sitting there watching their favorite, Peppa Pig or whatever the hell, some goofy stuff might pop up in there, and you never know, man. So be cautious, y'all.
Yeah, I think that's very good way to put it. It's too much. You often talk about how when it comes to certain things, it's like, hey man, they're gonna do it anyway. So you just find your piece of the pie and you stay out of the way.
Right.
Don't get frustrated about it because they're gonna do it anyway.
Right.
And that's how I feel about this. Like I feel like they're gonna do it anyway. They're gonna want kids' movies to have kink. They're gonna want to sell your toddlers Spectrum clothes in department stores. Like they're gonna want to do it. So my whole thing is I've relented. They're gonna do it anyway. So just let traditional people have their say too. Like get out of here with trying to book, because I find it as a form of bullying as well. That's personally, that's how I feel. It feels like we have made this a conversation about right and wrong. And so you've got to be on the gender bending and the race bending if you want to be right. And if you're traditional minded, it automatically denotes that you're on the wrong side of things. And I don't accept that premise. I refuse to accept that being traditional makes me inherently wrong. Just because I have a preference for socializing my children to be hetero. If you want to do that with your family, go do it. We still cool. Good. Go, it's not like we can't be friends. My kids can play with your kids. I don't give a damn. But don't come at my rack just because I have a preference for doing things traditional. And I'm gonna socially condition my kids to identify with the sex in which they were born. I know that's a foreign concept to some of y'all, but a lot of people feel that way. And they shouldn't be demonized for those ideas. They shouldn't. It's messed up. So I'm with Tomi Lahren on that. I'm on her side all day, every day. And I don't get political with it, but it's getting to a point where I'm starting to feel like I'll just support people who at least care about this kind of stuff, because otherwise we're just descending into madness more and more. It's crazy. It's a PG movie that's geared towards children. Like my 6-year-old, 7-year-old niece, that's who Little Mermaid is for. What is the need for kink? Help me explain that. I don't get it. But yeah, it is. It is. It's very strange, man. Strange world, for real. But that'll do it for tonight's comments, man. That'll do it for tonight's stream, rather. Good comments. Good episode. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Conscious Approach is the website. Con Approach, CONAPPROACH, is the page on Instagram. I am JV Wins. I am on Instagram at JV Wins, JVWINS. You can also check out these videos on the Facebook page, Conscious Approach, if you happen to be looking there. Wherever you see this video, whether it's on YouTube, which is preferable, but if you're also on Facebook, go ahead and follow the page, hit the like button, leave a comment. But definitely subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. This is the main hub. And we certainly appreciate everybody who has joined us along for the ride as we continue to crank out this good content. Until the next time, I certainly appreciate you supporting us. We look forward to seeing you on the next video.
Yep. Name is Dogon SS. And you can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS and on YouTube at Dogon SS. Also on YouTube at Hurricane Dogon. Goddamn. All right. And as I say on every pod, guys, all right, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it calm, keep it chill, keep it player. All right. And don't let nobody get you off your pivot, including the liberal media. All right. So until the next time, guys, we'll catch y'all on the flip side.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We'll see y'all. I'm tired. This stuff has made me exhausted.
Hey, man. It's always about the Heat, though, brother.
Yeah. Go Heat. NBA Finals. Heat in 7. I'm gonna go Heat in 7. Well, no, Heat in 6. Heat in 6. I don't want to play a game 7 in Denver.
Yeah.
So Heat in 6. But yeah, go Heat, man. Miami about to be crazy. All of the rich people with money who don't know nothing about Miami or are not from here are going to come down here claiming Miami. That's the one annoying part about it. But it is what it is. I'll live with it if we can get another championship. So go Heat. Until the next stream. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. We signing off. We'll see you later. Peace.
Peace. Go Canes too. Yeah, ain't gonna say that, boy. Go Canes.